Good morning. It is Saturday morning. It's early April, and I think I got live just a few seconds before the hour. So I will wait just a couple minutes until I see one person on. If you're on, would you say hey in the chat? Good morning. Good morning. I see someone's on. I can't tell who you are though. So thank you for being on this morning. I see there's another person on today. Good morning. Would you say hey in the chat today? Hi, Eve. Nice to see you. Are you back home or are you still out and about in vacation mode? It looked like you had a really fun trip. sounds good. A trip like that looked like fun, traveling around from place to place. Yeah. So there's a few people on this morning. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. On my topic, I have company today, and I've had company this week, and my aunt and uncle have been here, and they're getting ready to head home. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in today, and start my topic. So my topic today actually is on contentment. The word contentment has popped up several times this week for me, and I really felt earlier in the month or earlier in the week that I really needed to do a contentment check. Do y'all ever do a contentment check? It's a good idea. Contentment check is a good idea. Ironically, though, sometimes when you have um, another pair of eyes. Like I've had company this week and we've talked about things going on, catching up with our lives and blah, blah. And sometimes when you have another pair of eyes looking in and you just kind of talking about it, um, it's really helpful to get another perspective. And sometimes um, what I found this week is that I was praying for contentment for the way things are, but realizing when I had another pair of eyes looking in that sometimes discontentment is the Holy Spirit moving things around in our hearts and in our thoughts so that we'll think outside the box. And maybe sometimes discontentment can be a good thing because it can help us to see outside of our own or our sometimes old structure of thinking. And sometimes that's a very necessary part of um, shifting things in our lives to best serve God and serve others. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I hope that makes sense to all of you. Um, but I see that as being really valuable. Hi Diane, nice to see you this morning. Yeah, better late than never. At least you got to be on this morning. And if you are on, I would love to have you just say hey in the chat so I know you're on. And if you're watching the replay, just say good morning so I know that you were here this morning. And I will always reply and comment back. So um, I appreciate knowing who has been on this morning on chat or any morning on chat, whether it's replay or not. But I'm talking this morning about contentment. And I guess in a way with this topic also goes kind of hand in hand for me this week with counsel, although I don't know that it's necessarily counsel, but it's just really good, I think, to have another pair of eyes looking in on your life, which is a really great. Hey, Marlene, you're saying hello from downstairs. I love that. um, but it is good. Like I say, this week started out with me praying for more contentment in my life this week has ended with recognizing that sometimes a sense of discontentment brings us to prayer and can ask that we would ask God for greater clarity in where we're at. Sometimes discontentment, like worry, we say we shouldn't worry, we shouldn't have fear, we shouldn't have anxiety, which we shouldn't. We should recognize, however, that sometimes those things lead us to prayer. Sometimes those things can be the Holy Spirit moving in us, and the discontentment or the fear is maybe the path, or maybe slight changes that, or maybe even big changes that need to be made, are coming up against what we think should be. So sometimes that wrestling, that discontentment, is our initial inability to be flexible and to recognize that something's coming or something needs to come that needs to change. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's been a valuable lesson for me this week. And I've always been one to want counsel, or I like talking things out with someone else, even several people. I like talking things out with several people. I like talking things out with pen and paper with the Lord. But always when I seek counsel or have conversation with people, I have to remember, and the other people have to remember, that it's never about me taking their advice. It's always to take their advice into prayer so that the decision is made between you and the Lord. You really have to gain confidence in understanding God's direction, but also understanding that sometimes God helps give that direction to other people, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's just opinions, and it's various perspectives that maybe some perspectives are set in another person's old ways of thinking, or we don't always think outside the box, and sometimes God is calling us to think outside the box, and sometimes that comes from another person, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's valuable to not just assume that what we think is the right way today is always going to be the right way. And we can do that when we recognize discontentment is okay, even fear is okay, even worry is okay, when we bring it to the Lord and we ask for his perspective. And sometimes he does that through the eyes of other people. And that's what I found valuable this week. It was a really valuable lesson. It was a really valuable reminder. Hi, Jen. I'm glad you made it this morning. I saw your pictures earlier on Facebook, and I thought maybe you were on a short road trip or something. So I wasn't sure if you were going to be on today, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you. But anyway, I hope you find that helpful. I hope you find that valuable to consider today. While contentment is important, and we should be at peace with the Lord, when we feel a discontentment, let's not be ashamed of that. Let's say, what is that? Is that the Holy Spirit? Is that the Lord shifting things? And then being content enough to say, maybe it is. I'm going to go in prayer about this. I'm going to consider it. I'm going to ponder. I'm going to journal. I'm going to write down. I'm going to process what I'm thinking, what I'm experiencing. And I'm going to be open that maybe God has something to do, or for me to do, that would be outside the box I was thinking in before. And that's okay. And if we're not thinking in the right way, if we're still thinking in an old way, if we're still stuck in our old pattern of belief that things have to be XYZ, and God is saying, no, in this case, it's going to be BCD. Well, you know what? We better be discontent with XYZ, right? I mean, think about it. So, discontentment in the sense that maybe God is calling us to start thinking outside of our old way, then I think discontentment can lead us to prayer and lead us to seek others who can give us other pairs of eyes to see and take it all like a bouquet, give it to the Lord, and ask for Him to bring clarity through that. And I think that is a scary, it is a different, but it is a very good and wise way to live. So that's my word for this week. That is what the Lord has been showing me and sharing with me. I hope that's an encouragement to you. I hope you'll take that under consideration. And, in part of the process of that, good morning, Pam. Nice to see you this morning. Thanks for being on today. I love your little face with the sunglasses. That's great. I'd like to be outside today sometime with my sunglasses on. So maybe you are too today. Nice to see you, Diane. I'm glad this is something that you love. So I hope that's something that you'll ponder. I was going to say a second ago, in the process of considering what I'm talking about, get a little pad of paper, get a little notebook, a pen, and, every once in a while, make it a point to process where your life is at. And are there little areas where you're feeling a little juggling? Maybe you call it discontentment. Maybe you won't. Maybe it just feels like an unrest, and that's okay. But don't be afraid to go there. Don't be afraid to consider it. Don't be afraid to talk with other people about it. Don't be afraid to write it down. Process it. Write down the things that you're thinking and feeling, because when you write it down, now it goes from the swirling around, vague something or other inside to black and white on the outside. It really helps you to process more slowly and also to see it for what it is when you write it down. It's a really valuable part of processing the things that you're thinking and feeling, and helping you to more specifically pray and more specifically help you seek those that can give you that other pair of eyes to look in and say, this is what I see from where I'm looking. That's not necessarily from God, not even from the wisest person on the planet, honestly. But it is helpful in helping us process and pray specifically for what is God's desire for us in whatever that situation is that's bringing a little bit of discord or discontentment. So that also eliminates for us any shame or guilt about feeling those things. They are feelings. Sometimes they are things we need to help us think differently, think outside the box, be more open to something that God might be doing in our lives or in our hearts, and helping us to move into a direction that, or make a slight shift in our path that would create a better way for us to live and love others. So hope that's helpful. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I hope I see you again next Saturday on Fireside Chat. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.